This Chiron shouldn't exist. Not like this. Not looking like this. A year ago it was scrap, wrecked in Cyprus, written off. The kind of accident that ends most cars for good, especially cars this rare, this expensive, this impossible to source parts for. Today it's sitting in a driveway in Miami wearing a body Bugatti never designed, never approved, and never wanted anywhere near their name. And in the next few minutes you're going to see exactly why this build is about to blow up every comment section it touches. Because what happened in this workshop over the last few weeks changes everything about what this car is. Stick around, because the wheel debate alone at the end of this video is going to run for days. But first, one light refused to die. An airbag warning, sitting on the dashboard like a curse. Months of work behind it. Every panel back on, every wire reconnected, every system tested and retested. And still, that light stayed on. Stubborn, relentless, mocking, almost. The kind of fault that makes a team question every single thing they've done up to that point. The team chased it through fuses, through wiring harnesses, through connectors nobody had touched in weeks. Nothing added up, nothing explained it. Then, finally, they found it. And when they found it, it was almost impossible to believe how small the answer actually was. A tiny orange plastic tab, sitting on a battery interruption fuse connector. The exact same part used on a Mercedes van. Not some exotic Bugatti-only component, a shared part hiding a massive problem. Two microscopic prongs inside that connector had snapped clean off. Without them, two electrical pins were left free to touch each other. And every single time they touched, the car's computer read it as a fault. Over and over. Endlessly. The fix, in the end, was small. A replacement fuse. That fragile orange tab carefully moved across by hand without snapping it, plugged back in, ignition on, and for the first time since the crash that started all of this, nothing. No airbag light. No engine light. No warnings of any kind. Just a completely clean dashboard. Finally, after everything, a car that finally read as whole. Now the real transformation could begin. Because a Venuum body kit had already landed. Flown in by helicopter no less. Sitting in crates that nobody on the team had actually opened in person. Not Matt, not Bob, not even Alex, the car's owner. They had all seen digital renders. But renders lie. Renders are forgiving in ways that carbon fiber and sheet metal never are. This is a one-of-one Chiron Pur Sport. Nobody at Venuum had ever physically measured this exact car. Every single panel in those crates was a gamble on whether reality would match the drawings. And the first real test of that gamble came almost immediately. The rear arches. To fit them, the team had to cut into the Chiron's original quarter panel. Not trim it. Not massage it into place. Cut it. With a blade. Permanently. On a panel that cannot be replaced anywhere on Earth, because Bugatti simply does not make another one. Not for any price. The extension itself only adds around 30 millimeters of extra width. 30 millimeters. That's the entire justification for an irreversible cut into an irreplaceable piece of a car worth millions. There was a long pause before anyone touched the tool. A real hesitation. The kind of moment where you can feel the weight of the decision in the room. Then it happened anyway. And the second that blade went through, there was no walking it back. No undoing it. No second chances. The change in stance was instant. The rear of the car suddenly looked wider, lower, meaner, more planted than any Pur Sport that has ever left the factory floor. The factory wheels, perfectly correct just minutes earlier, now looked almost comically small underneath the new bodywork surrounding them, like they belonged to a completely different car. The side skirts went on next, stretching that new aggressive line down toward the ground, tying the whole rear end together. And even people who had lived with this build for months, who thought they'd seen every surprise this car had left to offer, just stood there, staring at it. Nobody said much for a minute. Then came the front end, and this is where things got genuinely complicated. Because Bob had already rebuilt this Chiron's entire front crash structure by hand, working from a wrecked reference piece as his only real guide. Which meant the surfaces the new Venuum front end needed to bolt to weren't factory Bugatti geometry anymore. They were custom fabrications, built to match Bugatti's original dimensions as closely as human hands and careful measurement could manage. When the Venuum front clip finally got lifted into position, the alignment was close. Close enough that the panel gaps were workable. Not perfect yet, but workable. The bonnet hinges, bent beyond repair in the original crash, don't exist for sale anywhere in the world. Not from Bugatti, not from any supplier. Bob is going to have to rebuild them from scratch. But the fitment overall was close enough to prove one important thing. This kit had actually been engineered to the right numbers. On a car this rare, that was never a guarantee. It could have been a disaster. The headlights are their own insane story, and honestly deserve a video of their own. Both original units were completely destroyed in the crash that started this build. Bugatti's price for genuine replacements? $50,000 for the pair, and that's the good number. Some markets were quoting 3 times that figure for a single set. And here's the part that stings the most. Bugatti wouldn't even sell them. Full stop. No amount of money moved them. So the team found a contact in Europe. A used set, sitting somewhere private, the exact location kept secret, the seller unwilling to appear on camera under any circumstance, and the window to actually collect these lights was so tight that the only real option left was chartering a private jet. They landed, had roughly 1 hour on the ground, drove to the meeting point, completed the handoff, got back to the runway just before the aircraft's window closed for good. Total cost for the lights, $10,000, a fraction, an absolute fraction of what Bugatti wanted. Back in Miami, on the test bench, the main beams fired up immediately. Relief for about 5 seconds. Then the problem showed up. The daytime running lights, the exact glowing signature that makes a Chiron instantly recognizable from 100 yards away, stayed completely, stubbornly dark. The team swapped control modules between the damaged original housings and the new replacement units. Still nothing, still dark. And the actual cause, when they finally traced it, wasn't anywhere near the headlights at all. It was sitting in the rear quarter panels. Modules that had been disconnected weeks earlier during the arch extension surgery and simply never plugged back in once the new panels went on. Modules controlling sections of the lighting system with no obvious connection to the front of the car whatsoever. The moment those connectors were reseated, the daytime running lights came alive, instantly, on the very first try. With the front end fully mounted, headlights glowing, arches flared out behind it, the reaction inside that workshop said everything words couldn't. Because this is wider than any factory Chiron has ever been. More dramatic in every single dimension. Sitting somewhere between a production hypercar and one of those concept sketches Bugatti's own designers draw in private and bury in a drawer forever. One thing is still completely unsolved. The wheels. The Venuum kit ships with its own wheel design, and when they were test-fitted without tires, the proportions against the newly extended arches looked genuinely correct. But here's the catch. This car eventually needs specialized tires for a serious top-speed attempt. And those tires only exist in the correct width on a 21-inch wheel. Without those specific tires actually mounted, it's genuinely difficult to make a final call. Nobody on the team walked away fully convinced these wheels are aggressive enough for everything else that's changed on this car. And that debate, right now, is completely wide open. Drop your take in the comments because this team genuinely wants to hear it. What's left before paint is surprisingly short, considering everything this build has been through. A windscreen still needs to go in. The front bonnet needs reshaping once those hinges are properly rebuilt. The air conditioning system needs gas once it's fully sealed. A new storage bay liner up front, properly routed jump-start access points, and, of course, that final wheel decision. That's genuinely it. That's the whole remaining list. After a crash in Cyprus that should have ended this car for good. After a full year spent hunting down parts that officially do not exist anymore. After a manufacturer that refused to help at every single turn, that quoted prices designed to make people walk away. After a front crash structure rebuilt entirely by hand from a wrecked reference piece. After headlights smuggled out of Europe on a private jet with an hour-long window to spare. After all of that, a short list like this feels almost impossible to believe. This Chiron was written off, called unrepairable by the very people who built it. And now it's sitting on a driveway in Miami, wearing a body Bugatti never touched, running headlights Bugatti wanted $50,000 for, looking like absolutely nothing that has ever rolled off a Bugatti production line in the brand's entire history. It isn't finished, not yet, but it's close. And after everything this car has survived to get here, close might just be the loudest word in this entire story. Subscribe now, because when this thing goes to paint and comes back complete, this community is going to witness something that nobody, not even Bugatti, ever saw coming.